Stop, my kid, before you say another well-crafted prayer. You may not even be aware of what you have been doing for years. You have a strong emotion, yet you alter it before bringing it to God. The fear is lessened by you. You keep your rage to yourself. You tidy up the letdown. You transform the statement that truly resides in your heart into something more secure, subdued, and spiritual. You call that prayer after that. But what if the prayer you keep erasing before you say it is the one that God has been waiting for? Stay with me, because this might help you understand why you can pray every day and still feel as like there is a part of you that has never been really heard. You now know how to sound powerful. You know how to say, God is in control, even while your heart is racing. You know how to say, I'm trusting His timing, even when you're worn out. You know how to reassure yourself, everything will be fine, even when you are scared of what tomorrow might hold. It's possible that those statements are accurate. However, they are not always accurate. At times, the complete reality is, Jesus, I'm afraid. Jesus, I don't get it. Jesus, I want no one to know how much this hurts. Jesus, I'm sick of acting like this doesn't impact me. You began to feel that those phrases were somewhat less faithful at some point. They're not. The Bible never instructs us to conceal our pain in order to practice faith. In actuality, those who gave up acting offered some of the most potent prayers found in the Bible. David let out a bewildered cry. Jeremiah sobbed. Job made painful inquiries. Even Jesus did not conceal the burden he was bearing in Gethsemane. True faith isn't always serene. Real faith might sometimes seem like a frightened voice saying, God, I still need you. Put, Jesus, I need you, in the comments if that's where you are at the moment. Saying the truth out can occasionally be the first break in a wall we have spent years creating, not because typing those words wins us anything from God. You also need to see something else. Imagine what might happen if something unexpectedly fell close to you. Before you realize it, you reach for it. Your arms move before you give them instructions if you lose your balance. Your body responds instantly to sudden peril. You don't practice. You don't inquire as to whether the motion appears elegant. You just answer. However, everything abruptly slows down when your heart is focused on God. You start editing. You start evaluating your own feelings. You start to question whether the words are appropriate. You start to consider. Perhaps I ought to settle down first. Perhaps I ought to hold off until I have greater faith. Maybe when I can say this correctly, I should pray. And a lot of prayers vanish there. Not because you lost faith. Because you continued to put off being honest. You've been waiting to get ready for a discussion that God never asked you to prepare for. Give that some thought. Before you even pronounce the statement, God already knows it. He is aware of the query you are hesitant to pose. He is aware of the disappointment you would never acknowledge in public. He is aware of what you frequently refer to as stress, but it's actually terror. He is aware of what you keep referring to as a difficult season, but it's actually heartbreak. He is aware. And he continues to beckon you in. Now keep Peter in mind. He got off the boat. He approached Jesus for a brief moment while walking on the sea. He then turned to face the wind. Fear seized control. He started to sink. You must take note of the order at this point. Peter was not the first to regain his confidence. He didn't hold off until his faith grew stronger. He didn't write a lovely prayer. He exclaimed, "Lord, please save me." Jesus then made a grab for him. Can you see it? Before he could stabilize himself, Peter let out a cry. He sank and let out a cry. You may have spent years attempting to change that sequence. You tell yourself, "I'll pray once I stop worrying. I'll pray once I know what God is doing. I'll return when I feel strong spiritually again. I'll talk to Him once I stop being angry." However, what if the prayer should be at the center? Not following the storm. Within it. Not following the tears. In the midst of them. Not once you've grasped it. While you're still perplexed. Perhaps that's the liberation your spirit has been longing for. Calling for assistance doesn't have to wait until you've finished falling. You find this challenging for another reason. You are now the powerful one. Because you are able to maintain your composure, people come to you. When everyone else is anxious, you know how to remain composed. When someone else is in pain, you know how to listen. Even when your own heart is empty, you know how to uplift others. People think they're strong when they see you. However, they are blind to the expense. How many times you swallow the sentence you really intended to express is invisible to them. They are unaware of how frequently you suppress your suffering because you don't want to be a burden. They don't notice how exhausted you are from always appearing to be all right. You gradually carried that same version of yourself into prayer without even recognizing it. You also began to be strong for God. But pay close attention. You don't have to be strong for God. God is Him. He's not depending on you. You're depending on Him. You don't have to shield Him from your tears. You don't have to make your suffering easier for Him to bear. You only need to show Him the version of yourself that works well. You might be His offspring. Additionally, kids don't always give clear explanations for themselves. They may cry first at times. Occasionally, they arrive first. Help is all they can say at times. That's sufficient to start. Share this message with someone you know who always stands up for others. They might need to be reminded that being strong does not include doing everything by yourself. Here's something even more profound. Every day, you can be carrying two different versions of yourself. The version that you experience, as well as the version you display. You say inside, "I feel overburdened." You say outside, "I've simply been preoccupied." Inside, "I worry that this won't change." Outside, "I'm confident everything will work out." Inside, "I was devastated by this." Outside, "It's all right. I've moved on." Inside, "I'm not sure how much longer I can bear this." Outside, "I'm all right." You have no idea how draining it is to simultaneously maintain two truths. Your heart contains one truth. One more escapes your lips. There is weight in that distance. It's possible that you have been carrying that weight for so long that you have come to accept it as usual. However, you don't need two versions before God. Bring one. The actual one. You don't have to express all of your emotions to everyone. Knowledge is important. Boundaries are important. It's important to have discernment. But it's safe to be honest with God. He is already aware. Maybe the breakthrough isn't getting God to learn something about you. It is at last letting yourself express what He already perceives. Perhaps this is how you should start your prayer tonight. The truth is, Jesus. After that, cease editing. Complete the sentence. The truth is, Jesus, I'm furious. The truth is, Jesus, I'm lonely. The truth is, Jesus, I fear you have forgotten me. The truth is, Jesus, I miss my former self. The truth is, Jesus, I'm exhausted. The truth is, Jesus, I want to trust you, but I'm having trouble right now. After that, do something you don't often let yourself do. Don't fix the sentence right away. But I know you're good, should not be said hastily. That will happen at a later time. Just allow the truth to remain in the room for a moment. It doesn't frighten God. Your humanity does not offend Him. Your frailty does not surprise Him. Furthermore, living a Christian life was never intended to be a show in which a believer always maintains composure. Those who are tired and troubled can come to Jesus, according to Himself. Not after they've healed. Not when they've figured everything out. Come on. That invitation is still relevant. So forget the lengthy prayer before you go to bed tonight. Don't try to sound impressive. Put aside the phrases you believe are appropriate for a good Christian. Take a seat calmly. And utter the phrase you've been trying to avoid. You might cry. Perhaps you won't feel anything. Perhaps you'll sit quietly afterward. That's all right. The intensity of a moment is not a measure of God's presence. Furthermore, healing doesn't always manifest itself. When someone ceases hiding, healing can sometimes start in silence. You've stood outside a door that Jesus has already opened long enough. Enter. Bring the terror. Bring the confusion. Bring the letdown. Bring the questions you believe you ought to have outgrown. Bring the remorse. Bring the loneliness. Bring what little trust you still have. Bring everything. Because the polished version is not what God is requesting. He is already familiar with the incomplete version. You are also encouraged by Christ to boldly approach the throne of grace in order to find grace and mercy when you most need it. Grace is not limited to the perfect version of yourself. Grace is what you experience when you know you can't. So give up practicing. Give up putting things off. Don't wait for your voice to stabilize. Talk now. Now offer up a prayer. Even if you have a trembling voice. Even if there are just 5 words in the prayer. Even if all you are able to do is, "Please stay with me, Jesus." That should be sufficient for tonight. Please like this video if this message resonated with you so that someone else who is lonely might find it. Additionally, write in the comments, "I will come to you as I am, Jesus." Tell the person who always seems strong about this message. Because sometimes the strongest person is just the one who has mastered the art of concealing their weariness. And before you depart, keep this in mind. Fearlessness is not a prerequisite for approaching God. You don't have to be flawless before you can pray. Before you can trust, you don't need to understand everything. Before you meet Jesus, you don't need to purify your heart. Come with the shaking voice. Come with the unfinished story. Come with the question, Come with the tears. Come with the little faith you have left. Just come. Because the door was never waiting for a better version of you. It was open all along.